Hi, this is Steve Green, and I am live with you today. Thank you for coming. Welcome to Pizza Marketing Masters. Today we have somebody very relevant to pizza marketing in today's new world, and I'd like to introduce to you Steve Heaney from Minuteman Press in Toledo, Ohio. He's been there for a very long time, and he's a good portion of the business that he does is working with people in the pizza business, and he specialized in the various regular everyday tools that pizza operators use in marketing pizza. And the reason we're visiting with him today is because of the Pizza Vegan website and promotion that we're working on during November. And because Steve has sort of an advanced look at direct mail, which is my favorite surgical marketing tool, even maybe as much or more than digital media. I think it's a killer combination when you really use direct mail in combination with all the digital assets that we have today. So Ingrid, if you'll connect me to Steve, I'd like to, there he is. Thank you, Steve, for coming here today.
Thanks for the invitation, Steve. I appreciate the opportunity.
We're here to learn more about dynamic direct mail. You've been in direct mail for a long time, and you've witnessed the evolution of it. And would you like to introduce us to the idea of dynamic marketing?
I'd be happy to. Let me start by saying again, thanks for inviting me on. Your comments about using direct mail as a surgical tool to speak specifically to a very particular type of audience, very specific demographic is spot on. There is absolutely a place for direct mail as part of any marketing campaign for any business, particularly restaurant and pizza. What we've done, though, is built a proprietary system that we call dynamic direct mail. And if we start there, what you're going to see is we'll swing back later, I guess, to basic normal direct mail postcards and such. But the dynamic direct mail is where we've taken some additional social media and electronic and digital, as you described, type tools to supplement and make direct mail much more effective. So if we want to switch over to the PowerPoint, let me just kind of talk your audience through dynamic direct mail from Minuteman Press.
Very good.
So dynamic direct mail, internet ads, social media, call tracking, and mail tracking. The first slide basically is making a point that in any kind of marketing, whether it's direct mail, radio, television, anything you might be doing, it's very, very important to understand your return on investment, because continuing to do something that's not working is just wasting your money. And you want to spend your money where it works, or find out that whatever you're doing isn't working as well as it should, and modify your attention get or your call to action, or whatever it is, to make the return on investment appropriate. That's true with direct mail as well as any other type marketing program. Just a little tidbit that'll make sense as we move further into the presentation. I'm not overly concerned about the exact specifics of the 90%, 96%, but the point of the slide is that interested people, regardless of how you touch base with them, are going to visit your website. And many of them are going to visit the website and not take any additional action. So we've got to address both those concerns. So here's how it works. Dynamic direct mail is a marketing-based solution. It's designed to help do two things. One is absolutely track and get you feedback on the return on investment. Make sure you understand what's actually happening inside your shop from the marketing efforts you're putting in, and as well as using digital platforms like Google and Facebook to integrate with the actual direct mail piece, commonly a postcard, to enhance results to make the whole program work better. There's 7 aspects of what we're going to do beyond just the direct mail piece. We call them social match, mail tracking, informed delivery, call tracking, online follow-up driven by Google, other social media follow-up, and lead match. Before we go any further, too, my apology, the slides are slightly old. The Instagram logo that you'll see in a couple of places, we are currently only working with Facebook. and with Google. So the first one is social match. Your clients, your audience will find that people are going to be more inclined to take an action when they're seeing a multimedia hit, whether they're seeing the postcard, then a social media, or social media before, during, and after a direct mail campaign. As you become multimedia, as people see the offer multiple times in multiple places, what you're going to see is a much better result. So social match takes your mailing list. And from the mailing list, we're going to sort and look and search and find everybody from the mailing list that you've got who has a Facebook account. And then we're going to reach out to those people, as I said, before, during, and after your campaign. And as you notice in that slide just below the Facebook, that's an example of what that ad would look like. So the way this will work is, if you look at this calendar, on the 28th, you've got your mail out date. So the postcard, for an example, is going to go out the door. And then you follow the green, that's all the social match. So what will happen is, from the day we start the mailing, for another 14 days, there'll be social touches going on throughout the campaign. Then I'll explain a little further in the presentation. You'll also get Google and the social media follow-up from conceivably the first day, the 28th, through the end of the month. So that program runs for 30 days. So if the direct mail piece was, for example, maybe a postcard that looks like the 30% off and the manicure over on the left, we'll modify that to have a caption above the image, and then an offer down below and a learn more button. The person who receives that can respond to that by clicking the learn more, and there's a couple of built-in links underneath. If they click on the image, they'll get to your website as well. And the idea is that repetition is critical. So now all of a sudden, instead of sending a postcard out, you're sending a postcard out, and then again, with everybody we can identify with a Facebook account, they're going to get at least 3 more taps. That's quite powerful. What you can do in regard to this idea of return on investment, this idea of monitoring and watching for result to see what actually is going on with your campaign. This is a snapshot of what we call a dashboard. So on just that one of 7 things, the social match, you'll watch for this screen in front of you. You can log into that on a special website for you as my client, and you can watch and see what kind of hits you've got. So if you take a quick look at that, you'll see that in this case, 444 people from the list were able to be identified and contacted through Facebook. The ad that we've developed has been displayed 933 times, and 8 contacts were made through just this one particular portion of the marketing campaign. Mail tracking is built around what's called an intelligent barcode. The idea here is that we can manage to get the postcard into the mail stream with the USPS and create tracking on all the individual pieces. So what you gain from that is predictability to know when the mail is actually getting to the mailboxes of your target audience. You actually will receive delivery confirmation, and that's down to what we call a per piece level. You'll know the percentage of mail that's arrived and what percentage of the mail is still due to be delivered. That allows you to be doing some level of planning for people to be on the phones and staff and everything else necessary for the surge you may see from a direct mail campaign. The reporting is also synced into Google Maps. So again, this is one of those dashboards. So what's going to occur is you'll actually see the deliverability of the piece, and you can see that surge going on right around the February 3rd of 2016. It gives you the deliverability like everybody's used to on Amazon, where you can actually see it was dropped, it's being delivered. So again, you get tracking on your piece. Then you can actually track it all the way down to the individual. So you can tell in this case, the image here, this was a national mailing. You can see all the different surges of deliverability all over the country. But then you can actually mine down to the individual. So as you can see down at the bottom of this slide, highlighted name, we know that this individual, Bruce, has received his piece, where he is, a picture of his location. So you can tell an awful lot about what's happening to your mail list. And that's the mail tracking. Informed delivery is a very, very interesting program the USPS rolled out. For those of you not familiar with it, what can happen is a person can actually sign in, log into the USPS themselves, and sign up for informed delivery. What that will get you is you'll receive an email of the mail that's going to be delivered to you on the next mail delivery at your address. What we're doing is piggybacking into that. So we're creating an electronic ride along so that when somebody gets this little grayscale image of the mail piece, they'll also have a link that will allow them to respond to your ad as well. It's just another way people can reach out to you. So here would be the example. They're going to see on their mobile that there's this ride along. That's the blue piece down below. They can click on that and get to you. So people can actually respond to your ad before your postcard actually even gets to them. And I keep using postcard just as an example. We can support you with anything you want, a mailed piece, a fold over, trifold, postcards, but we'll just use postcard for the remainder of this presentation. About 20 million people are in that program, and the signups are about 500,000 to 1 million a month more. About 86%, the USPS has tracked that, 86% of the people who receive the informed delivery actually do open to see what they're getting in the mail. And we're finding an informed delivery click rate of about 7 to 8%. So that's another piece of the program that's very powerful. Exactly like everything else, you get another part of the dashboard where you can actually go and actually see where your pieces are going. In this case, 1101 and 9 more clicks. And the image over on the right shows you an example of that grayscale image that the USPS processes. And then you can see below the ride along image, and that's going to be a link where they can click on that or click on the learn more, and that's going to drive them to the proper page that we set up for you on your website. Informed delivery is another cool tool. Call tracking. How many phone calls are you getting from this campaign? Right now your phone's ringing, and you know that if you put any kind of marketing campaign on, then all of a sudden your phones will go up, but how much more did it go up because of that campaign? That's what this call tracking is about. We will set up some kind of a phone number for you, either a toll-free or a phone number with your local area code, and we'll drive the phone calls from your direct mail piece to that number, which will roll immediately to your staff at your regular phone number. But because it comes through our system, we can track how many phone calls came from this particular direct mail campaign. We also tape the calls so that you can listen to the recorded calls, and you can use them as a training tool with your staff to make sure that you're getting the proper reaction, result, and effect at your store, at your restaurant, at your shop, from this campaign. If people are answering the phones poorly, then you may not be getting the result you want, but it's not because of the marketing campaign, it's because of how the calls are being handled. Another, again, very powerful tool. All of this, again, built over top of the direct mail piece that we do for you. And again, you go to the website and you have another dashboard that shows what's going on with the phone calls, and you can get all the contact information about the people that called in and know what occurred with them. Again, Google Maps image of where all this stuff's coming from. Online follow-up. What we're doing here is tying in with Google, and as part of this, we have to be able to tie into your website with URLs and stuff. So since we're already doing that, while we're in, we're also monitoring the hits that are coming from all of these different potential ancillary sources to the direct mail campaign. So when visitors come to your site, they're going to receive a cookie. And then based on tying into that cookie, they'll start to see the follow-on ads. And all these little pink little arrows are showing the kinds of ads that will happen. So as people are going into their internet, into Google, your ad will be popping up on people who we've been able to create a cookie with when they've come into your site. Since we're in there already, this is again just a dashboard of what that looks like. Since we're already in there, we're going to track everybody in. That's the social media follow-up. We're going to monitor everybody that's coming into your website. And as we identify the people that are coming into the website, whether they were on your list or not, we can create social media and Google follow-up. And that's this lead match portion of our campaign. As they come in, we'll also be able to identify people who for some reason are coming to you that are not actually part of the direct mail campaign. And as we identify them, we can get addresses, and that's what we're capturing down here. We'll get addresses, and you can choose to send like a one-off piece yourself, just with a full first-class postage on it, or we can capture those names and addresses and make them available for the next mailing campaign that you want to do, and that'll allow you to build your mailing list for the next time. And again, depending on what you're trying to do with the mailing, is it mailing to prospects, or are you mailing to current clients? We can massage and help you figure out what your target's going to be. But this is, again, just more raw fodder, raw data that you can use in your Excel sheet to target more people. And that's really what we're talking about. It's a mix of a lot of social media pieces over top of any normal standard direct mail. And what we find is that when we roll this ancillary program out over direct mail, whatever it is you were going to see with the direct mail, you'll get about a 25 to 50% increase in that campaign by adding the dynamic direct mail over the top. So, Steve, thank you for the opportunity to kind of roll that out and show people it.
Yeah.
Direct mail is very powerful, but there are ways to make it even more powerful.
That's great. I was real interested in that informed delivery segment. I thought that was interesting how you said that 20 million, I guess, Americans are signed up for that program. Do you know what the percentage of businesses that are signed up for that program?
I don't. I don't know that at all. The statistic as it's been presented to me is just that they've got all addresses, residential, business, and everything. And that about 20% of about 20 million deliverable addresses in the U.S.
I'm sorry,
on that
20
system,
million,
whether they're business or residential.
That includes
I believe that it's heavier residential, though. I believe the proportion is much heavier residential.
Yeah. I'm going to have to look into that. I wasn't aware of that until you brought that up. The part, to me, the biggest reason I think people are probably tuning in today is they are going to be participating in our Pizza Vegan promotion. And for those people that want to augment their promotion with some printed materials, I wanted our readers to know that you also have the original artwork. You have that in case somebody needs some printing done. You'll be able to have the same artwork that they have. But what we did is we came up with 5 different mail tools or physical print tools, including a box top, a table tent, a menu card, or a direct mail piece. And I didn't give any specifics about what kind of paper to use or anything like that. Do you have any suggestions for our readers that are going to get some printing materials like your window cling? What kind of specifications should they talk about with their local printer, or in the event that they want you to do their printing?
Window cling, I actually don't know the actual specification material. Just if you tell somebody you're looking for a window cling, there's some relatively standard millage for that. So just tell people you're looking for the window cling, and that's not really sophisticated. When we were preparing for the presentation today, though, you asked me about the other stocks. I would recommend that people don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. A direct mail piece has to have if you get into the actual exact specifications of USPS, it's called a 7 points. The minimum thing they'll allow anybody to mail is like a postcard, but that's more complex than you want. You want to go very simple. Just think business card. A business card is going to be 80 pound, what we call an 80 pound cover or 100 pound cover. And yes, there's many other specifications on business cards, but that's short and simple. A nice 80 pound, 100 pound cover is going to be substantially heavy enough to get through the post office without being destroyed. On the other stuff, you want to go basically about as light as you can without making the item look poor. So no, you don't want to use what's called 20 pound bond, which is what most people are used to running through their printer or their copier. But a nice 60 pound or 70 pound or 80 pound, and then it's preference, whether you like what's called offset, which is non-glossy, non-shiny stuff, or on a box top or a nice gloss sheet would probably be fine. But again, you're talking about what's called 60, 70 pound, 80 pound text weight. And then any of the other stuff you talk about, you'd mentioned like table tents and stuff like that. Again, you want a little bit of durability. So something in a cover weight, something in what we call cover stock would be the best.
Yeah, I'd like to just make a point out of it. Is having been in the direct mail business since the 1980s, and when I used to own my own Domino's pizza stores, I used a lot of the basic marketing tools at the time. Naturally, we didn't have digital marketing then, but we had direct mail, we had door hangers, we had box tops, and that is different than the digital tools that we have today. But they're both incredibly powerful tools, and I just hate it when anybody says, "Oh, one's better than the other one," or "You don't need one if you have the other." I like your approach where you're using a combination and intersection of both of these technologies. But to me, the big difference between these technologies, the physical paper technology and the digital technology, is that digital works really great if you're fishing for fish that are in the lake. But if you're hunting for meat that's not in the lake, you've got to hunt down that meat and grab it. And you have to do that in the physical world. And so direct mail is physically touching people. And digital is only a system where you can deal with people that volunteer to be in the digital world with you. It's much more efficient, but they're so important, because if you want to take control, if you want to go after people, you can do it with direct mail, with box tops, with door hanging. Door hanging is still very powerful. So I think that everybody in the pizza business should have a good lawyer, they should have a good banker, and they should have a good printer or marketing person with them today. And you need digital and printer leadership. And so I would just wrap it up by just paying homage to to where you are, because this, I think, is the intersection of opportunity today, is using a combination, differentiating yourself, showing consumers that you really care about them, that you want to reach them, and nothing personifies service more than hanging something on their door or showing them that you're taking the extra effort to reach them in a physical way, and then create excitement with digital. So, Steve, are there any parting thoughts that you would like to add to that?
Steve, the only thing I'd add is, to the man with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So it's really, I think there's an assumption out there that printers are always going to sell printing. And I would tell people that it's absolutely one of the tools, but even as the owner of printing companies, I would not tell you that it's the end all be all. Right. Your explanation of telling people it is a multimedia thing. The pizza shop owners should be doing their own social media. They should be doing their own direct mail. They should be doing some radio and television if they can afford that venue. And it's this large set of individual separate nets, and direct mail should be, as you described it, a hunting type thing. You're trying to get to a very particular demographic, and if you can't pick the demographic you want to talk to, one of which is your existing client base, to just continue to cement them. But in prospecting, try to define your bestest client, and let your printer or your marketing company help you identify a list of that bestest client, and then talk to them specifically about what they care about. They will come and do point of sale and all that to make sure that they stay.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the nice things about when you're in the pizza business and after you've already built your store, you can't change the demographics of your geography, but you can be competitive in that area. But yeah, there is, fortunately, about 93% of Americans eat pizza once a month. So the demographics of pizza eaters are about the same as oxygen breathers, which makes it a little easier. Now, there are demographics of people that eat a lot of pizza, and naturally that still works. And
that's kind of what I meant. I mean, geographically, I understand the geographic the geographic demographics locked in, but incomes and all kinds of other things. And if the kids are into sports, there's a lot of other secondary things you can do. and talking to a household that you know has got sports related children of a particular age, you know that the window of, making sure that they're getting the pizza notification prior to a day or two before they're going to have the soccer games, it gets a little more sophisticated to think through the details, but you can get slightly better results of targeting a secondary demographic within your geographic demographic.
Okay. Ingrid, do we have any questions or contestants ready to go? It doesn't look like we have any. Nope. The answer is nope. I guess that's amazing that we were able to accomplish such a coherent presentation that we don't even have any questions. So,
well, we did a good job presenting, or we put everybody to sleep. I don't know which.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how this works out. We'll be sending it out on Wednesday as well. So that's very good. Steve, thanks so much for
you're more than welcome
for giving us a presentation. Really appreciate it.
More than welcome. You have a wonderful day.
Okay, so long.